Hi everyone, welcome to Noodle Journey. Today we'll be taking a look at another product from Ramen Talk. This is what they call their Tom Yum Goong flavor, which it only sort of is. It's definitely Tom Yum, and we'll get into the Goong part later. If you watched the last video where I reviewed Ramen Talk's Golden Sour Beef Soup, I talked a lot about Ramen Talk as a company, so please check that video out first to get an idea of what to expect here. You can buy this in certain Asian markets or on Ramen Talk's official website for around $6 to $7, and their gimmick, which honestly is pretty impressive, is that everything you see on this package is inside. Yes, that includes the squid and octopus you see here, as well as, unfortunately for me, the cilantro. Now this is my first Tom Yum product, and if you're not familiar with Asian food, you might be wondering what this is. Tom Yum is a sometimes spicy, always sour soup from Thailand, and you'll often find it on the menu of your local Thai takeout place, assuming you have one. The proteins are usually seafood or pork, with some herbs like lemongrass, galangal, and kaffir lime leaves, and usually some chili peppers to give it spice. Sometimes there's coconut milk to make it creamy, which I believe is in here. And sometimes you'll also find my arch nemesis cilantro in it. Have I talked about cilantro before? I think I touched on it in one of the Mama Pho videos, but some people have a genetic variation that causes them to taste cilantro like soap, and I am one of those people. It's not that I can't learn to like cilantro over time, it's that my genes make it very difficult for me to enjoy. I find it's a little less pronounced if it's cooked cilantro, and cilantro seeds, aka coriander seeds, don't faze me that much, but those cilantro leaves are unpalatable to me. So, yes, there is a pack of cilantro leaves in the ingredients, and you'll forgive me if I don't taint my soup by adding them later on in the review. If you like cilantro, more power to you. One more thing. There seems to be a discrepancy between the package pictured on Ramen Talk's website and this package that I received from Ramen Talk, which is the same one my S-Mart carries. The image on their site, both on the back and front here, shows shrimp or prawns in it, which is literally the word goong in Tom Yum Goong, but the version both at S-Mart and the multi-pack I ordered is this one, no shrimp. So be warned, if you're expecting shrimp, there is no shrimp in this variety at this time. On their website, they're still calling this Tom Yum Goong instead of Tom Yum, whatever the Thai word for octopus is. So let's pop this open and see what's inside. So we've got their sun-dried craft noodles, which these are a thinner, rounder version of what we saw last time. And the packs are the Tom Yum soup base, freeze-dried seafood, and cilantro. The cooking process is basically the same as the golden sour beef soup. You cook the noodles separately, drain them, and boil 330 milliliters of additional water to make the broth and to reconstitute the freeze-dried ingredients. So let me do all of that now. All right, so while the water is boiling, I'm going to put all the soup ingredients into the bowl. This is the Tom Yum soup base. Ooh, that smells really good. It's got a very sour smell. There's almost assuredly tomato in there, probably lime. Definitely lime. Oh, that's really good. All right, here's the seafood. And this is going to be the cilantro, which, you know, I always give this a little whiff and a taste to see if my taste buds will relent and let me enjoy it, but you know, I was hoping that because it's freeze-dried, that would take some of that soap taste out, but it's still kind of there, and I don't really want to skew my review by adding this and then not liking it. So That's a big nope from my tongue. Sorry everyone, I'm not going to be adding this, but I'm sure if you enjoy cilantro, this will be something you'll like. All right, time for the boiling water, and we'll get this all mixed up. Okay, right away I can smell the flavor of that soup base reacting with the hot water, and it smells really good. All right, as far as soup paste go, that was pretty thin, and it's already kind of mixed up. So let me go get the noodles, and we'll put this together. All right, let me try to make this a little nicer looking, see if I can find those pieces of seafood in the bottom and get this looking a little nicer than what it is. All right, I realize without the green cilantro, to make this look a little nicer, this is kind of boring looking. The other elephant in the room, of course, is the amount of seafood you see here compared to what's on the packaging. A couple pieces of what I think is the octopus here doesn't look anything like that. Or that. Neither does this chunk of squid, really. I don't know. I don't think that's too big a deal. The quantity of seafood in here is a little questionable compared to the cover. I'll just say that. But let's give it a taste and see how it is. Okay. Texture-wise, these noodles are pretty similar to the sun-dried noodles from the last pack, although they were flatter. And like I said earlier, these are more of a rounded ramen noodle style. They also cooked way faster. These are a 4-minute noodle, and they came out just as firm as I like them. Great quality, nice weedy texture and flavor. Very good noodles, 10 out of 10. The spice level. So if you go on Ramen Talk's website, they sell this pack as part of their mild noodle pack. But this isn't completely mild. I was prepared to tell you this was a 0 out of 10 based on that. But as I taste this, there's definitely a little bit of chili pepper in here. Not a lot. You might want to spruce it up with even a little more chili pepper to make it a bit spicier. But for the spice averse, I'm going to very cautiously give this a 2 out of 10 on spice. It's pretty tolerable, but you might not like it if you don't like spicy food at all. And now the flavor. The broth is a really terrific combination of citrus, some tomato acid and sweetness. The tiniest little hint of coconut milk, not a lot, really just enough to balance it out. Which is to say this is a really nice balance of flavors here overall. The seafood gives it a little bit of extra seafoody sweetness and brininess. The octopus and squid are great, especially considering I don't think I've ever had squid and octopus out of a bag before. They're not chewy. They're very tender. In fact, with this piece of squid, I was able to just pick it up and take a bite out of it without having to eat the whole thing. And they both taste like what they should taste like. Nothing in the preservation process affected the mild sweetness they both have. I'm especially impressed by the texture and flavor of the octopus because that's not always my favorite. So yeah, the broth is rich and a little thick, and since I have eaten Tom Yum in a restaurant before, I would say this is on par with what you'd find at a Thai place in the USA as far as quality. But the thing that's missing here for me is just a little bit more. 4 pieces of seafood like this, and the only garnish being cilantro, doesn't quite compare to the beef noodle soup we just had, right? I mean, that had beef and bamboo shoots and bok choy and sesame seeds. This is just seafood and cilantro with a soup base. Like, I feel like there could have been a little more effort here. So I think a little extra seafood would have made this perfect, especially at the price point. But the flavor of the broth keeps this from dropping too far away from a perfect 10. So don't get me wrong, this is definitely good. It's just not a perfect 10 for me. I think I'm comfortable grading this at an 8.5 out of 10 overall. If you love Tom Yum soup, this is worth trying, especially for the seafood pieces that come with this. You're probably going to want some more, but the flavor and quality of the broth is definitely at a restaurant level, or at least at a serviceable US restaurant level. You might want to add a little more chili to balance it out, possibly some other garnish, but it's otherwise very good. Is it worth $7? That's a tough call, considering you can get takeout Tom Yum for less than that, but probably without noodles and almost certainly without octopus and squid. So if this all appeals to you and you're comfortable with the price point, I think it's a good purchase. That's all for now. More Ramen Talk is coming up in the next video as I make my way through their entire product line. If I do get my hands on the version of this with shrimp, I'll do a quick review of that too. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or let me know if you've tried this, and please remember to like and subscribe. And I hope to see you on the next episode of Noodle Journey.